I decided to scrap the video that I wanted to upload. And now you get to have a very soggy Tobert. Anyway, I wanted to make a shorter video for the channel because I don't like editing. Behold my dirty floor. behold the Snorlax that's on the floor. Well, anyway, I'm planning out my book. And I struggle because I tend to be so disorganized because I feel like I get tapped into too much information and I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, I thought this video was interesting because it's Glenn Gould and he shares his thoughts on things. So Beethoven is an interesting person. That was me. Whether or not people will believe, it's up to them. It's like, is there going to be any proof that reincarnation is real? Well, if you can prove absolutely everything through science, isn't it going to make the universe less interesting? Because where's the intrigue? So, anyway, I find that being a writer is very challenging. And I find that I'm not a good writer at times because I don't know how to condense everything into a little bubble. Instead, I feel like I'm tapped into a galaxy. And it's just too much information to look at. And I think it has something to do with the way I'm designed. So, I think I've spoken about it before. I'm basically a muse in training. And I'm working on refining myself. And in this refining process, I'm trying to figure out what is the message. And I have a hard time distilling the message into words. Because somehow it's like I want to go into a million different directions. But I don't go anywhere. Because I'm stuck in one spot with indecision. So anyway, I do have a book that I did writing. And I've been struggling at it for many days. Not years, just days. And basically, this book is the encapsulation of one past life that I've had when I lived in Jerusalem. And want to know the trippiest thing about the story that I want to publish first? The trippiest thing about it is that at one point in time in my long human history here, I was a Governor Proxy for the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal. And let me tell you, my dad was, I don't know, he was a complicated person. He was a strange one. And not because of anything he's done on his own. It was because of all the grooming that happens to people behind closed doors. Like, if people think, oh yeah, I want to be a royal, it's going to be great. It's like, no. Depending on what time period you're born into, being a royal is not great. It is definitely better than being the lowest member of society, because you get to live reasonably comfortable. But in terms of the indoctrination, that is a different thing entirely. So, my dad, I think, was irreversibly damaged by that lifetime. I have no idea what the heck happened to him, because he was no longer the same person that I encountered in my first lifetime. And it wasn't like there was a predictable progression of things where it was like, I think the seeds may have been planted by the powers that be to kind of just sabotage things, because they did that to everybody. You know, it's everybody here doesn't realize that the destiny you were meant to live has been greatly sabotaged and derailed because they put so many wrong choices in front of your face, and they say for the low price of $9.99 you could have blah, and people fall for that stuff. Like, they fall for the gimmicks, and the trick is to not fall for the gimmicks. Before my voice gives out, because it is straining. I noticed that when I talk it does strain quite a bit. I mean, it's probably just because of the information that I'm bringing in. It doesn't feel good. So at a certain point, it just doesn't feel good because my voice gets tired very quickly. And the video I had to delete was 40 minutes. So I don't want a 40-minute video because I think you guys deserve better than that. And I don't like to edit my own videos. I do not want to bother editing my own videos. Anyway, so this book, Son of the Last Great King, I want to get it done relatively soon. I want to publish it. I think I'm going to have to take the unfortunate road of putting it through Amazon Kindle publishing. Because I'm not exactly swimming in the funds to be able to do all the things that would make this book stand out better. And especially in terms of copyright protection. I think at the very least I should get copyright protection for it. The book is basically a memoir of my time, living in Jerusalem, and being a Governor Proxy, as they say in the language of the time, Belpate. I don't think I said it correctly because I speak English, so I haven't spoken any other language. But I've written about different people that I met, people that I knew, and I've recognized people that have incarnated into my life as Beethoven, like Ashurbanipal and Johann von Beethoven is the same person. It's the same guy. Different kinds of baggage. More alcoholic somehow. And he was pretty alcoholic back then too, so I'm like, it's like the same lessons that he didn't master or something like that coming back to haunt him. And just like they came back to haunt me, karma's like that. So like, there's a bunch of lessons you're supposed to learn, but if you make the wrong choices, especially if you do it willingly, you create kind of a backlog of lessons that you need to catch up on. Because you can't just live life willy-nilly, because what goes around comes around, and it'll come back around until you master it. And it comes around in different forms. Like Allura taught me and her students that. So basically, for me, I think the overall point of encountering those people was to learn how to let it go. That, their bad parenting was not something that determined my worth. I will say that in both lifetimes, my dad was somebody that kind of determined where my life was going to go. And one was very much to my detriment, more so than the other. Even though somehow I ended up better in one life than I did the other. It's weird. It's weird because like choices could create branching pathways. Choosing A instead of B can create a split in the road, and it takes you towards a different destiny somehow. it's like you have a destiny, you're supposed to work your way towards it, not kind of like go away from it. But I had a life where I kind of went away from it. But it did teach me a lot. Taught me a lot about war, about the politics of things, about how people will lie about who they are. Not just that they lie to you, but they manipulate your perception of them by basically being fake, but believable enough that you think that they're trustworthy. It's a messy world. So basically, if you're in a prominent position of being a king or a governor or whatever, very often you are surrounded by manipulative people. And people think that all the power rests with the king. It very much doesn't. It's with the hidden people in the background. Now, my dad thought he could micromanage everything and do just fine. But there's been enough documentation in the world to say that Ashurbanipal was kind of a miserable administrator, not the genius that he believed he was, though he did a good job convincing me that he was a genius. And because as a filial individual, I don't challenge my authority figures. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to believe in you until proven otherwise. And basically, by design, I'm built to just be like obedient, a good child. Problem is, the person that I had parenting me was very much not in a good place. So there's a lot of documentation in regards to Ludwig van Beethoven and his family life, my family life, but there's not a lot of that intimate connection. So like the books I'm writing is about that intimate connection where you get to know me through me and not through a second-hand or a third-hand source type of deal. So basically, Ashurbanipal liked to drink too much. He was very controlling, a perfectionist, and for whatever reason, when it was dinner time, everybody had to basically fit the role of being the perfect X, Y, or Z, depending on where we're at. My place at the table was always to his right. And let's see, do I have that back scratcher? Well, okay. Well, let's pretend. Okay, let's pretend. So I got these like rulers here. So let's pretend, okay, you have something like hard and flappy. Where, say, I do something wrong and you get to whack me. that was his parenting style. If I did something wrong, he let me know it through physical abuse. And that was his parenting style. I don't know where he got it from. Don't know why he was so convinced that he had to do it. And it might be attributed to his own upbringing. So, essentially, I might want to put it in my book about the dinner times, about the rules of the house. I'm going to have to take a look at see what I've written. I've written about a time where I was really lucky to be alive, and I don't know how I managed. But when I started remembering somebody else's life, Mark Wayne Clark, remembering that he was married, remembering that he had a child, remembering being in war, and then somehow just miraculously surviving it. And I've seen all these images stream through my consciousness, exactly what he went through. So I'm like intrigued. So it led me to believe that an aspect of who I am was very much divinely protected. Otherwise, I would not be here. I feel like I had to have had divine protection. Because for whatever reason, And it's very much my opinion based on what I was able to remember. For whatever reason, this world really wanted to destroy me at moments. When I was just futzing around and being a nobody, it left me alone. But if I was somebody that was going to be very positive and influential, it gave me a hard time. So, I'm in this house and I'm not being, harangued or anything, but I'm not being allowed to have much reach either. So, and my friend said she's been having a tough time with things, and 2026 is going to be hard. But I want to get this book published. It's 125, I think, for the Library of Congress, and then a little less than 100 for the copyright with the copyright office people. And the costs add up. $100 doesn't go far at all. And I don't have very much in my account, so it's like that money is going to be eaten up real quick if I kind of just do things willy-nilly. But I feel like if enough people follow me with the work that I'm doing and help support me here and there, I'll be able to produce more stuff because I feel like people could relate to what I write. It's like you don't have to know the nitty-gritty of what I've been through, un- unless the Lord wants me to speak on that, but I feel like it's not really needed. Basically, I've been through some crap, and some of the most difficult things I've been through is that family can stink. And with my dad being the way he was back then, family could really disrupt where you're meant to go in life. And I know he was the one that sent me on the path of being a Governor Proxy or Bill Petty, and I kind of just had to go with it. Otherwise, if I didn't go with it, you know, that was the thing. I didn't have an option unless I was really good at just running away and then just staying gone. But I was scared of doing that. It was a terrifying existence in moments because you don't know how many enemies you actually have. And especially if you're in a big position of being like a governor, you know, under the king. And there's a lot of people that will get close to you just for the sole purpose of being able to hurt you or your family. And so I'm hoping I can get enough information in Son of the Last Great King to kind of just, resonate with people that have been through some trauma here and there. It's not about trauma, it's kind of like just about life experiences and kind of just saying, this is what I've been through, this is who I met, this is what I thought about, this is how I felt. And because a lot of the war stuff that I went through in that life, I can't remember. I cannot remember what I've been through because this is the thing that I remember being kind of like the system of control is that through the indoctrination programming that they had at the time, which was a combination of horrible things. It sounds like stuff that they do in these times, where it's like a cult ritual abuse type deal, but with like hints of MK Ultra and other stuff. It's just a lot of grooming, and I started being groomed at around 5 years old in that life. So the programming was very effective. Children are very easily victimized, and they should never be victims of anything. But we live in an evil world that needs to heal and change. But in order to do that, people have to wake up. And so I've been through some bad experiences, and the worst that I can't remember, it's because of the programming that made it so that I went into a trance state, and then I would come back out of it not remembering what happened. I didn't always go into a trance state, but it happened fairly regularly during conflict. And it's kind of what made that life hard to cope with. And I know that the PTSD from that life kind of haunted me in this one, because I kept feeling really paranoid, always like looking behind my back, always being suspicious about who's walking behind me, about who I'm hearing beside me. And that life left me in like a really vulnerable state, because it's like, I wish I remembered more, but it's like it's behind a lock and key. It's like there's a prism of energy and I can't quite tap into it. But I'm close to it. Like I'm close to tapping into it. And I remember it had something to do with my soul origins. So if I saw a blue star in the distance, it kind of triggered the sequence of events that kind of just replayed itself. It seemed real, it felt real, and it was like being stuck in another time and place. Every time I woke up from it, I would just be utterly exhausted, because battles could last for a while or they could be quick. Conflicts could last weeks at a time. It could be anything. Like, it's not clear cut. And so I kind of always ended up feeling like I'm stuck in limbo. And it took me about a week to kind of get out of it, like to snap myself out of it. And I know that tapping into it kind of makes me feel like I'm re-experiencing the limbo. It's like a nebula of information, but it's almost like it's separated from everything else. Like there's a boundary there. But before I start losing track of everything, I just want to get back into why I'm writing. I'm writing because it I want people to be inspired to change. And we shouldn't be living in a world that's miserable. We shouldn't be living in a world that's full of corruption. And to me, it boggles my mind why people believe in politicians so, like, fully. It's like, why do people insist on using their broken systems? Like, when you vote, your vote should count for something, but it doesn't. Like, they found ways to rig the system in their favor. It's not broken. They made it that way. And people don't realize how many rights and freedoms that they're losing. I also want to write another book called A Stroke of Genius, because it's like, I've lived through, war, being just somebody that was a civilian. I lived through that, and I do have the vague memory of like being scared, and I have the sense that I was just hiding from everything. And it was hard, because it was just like I was afraid. And I don't know why I hate this little mousy dude. Like, this little mousy dude does not do me much favors. Like, I'm trying to click and it doesn't click. But anyway, like, I also want to write the book Stroke of Genius, because I thought maybe I can incorporate more of myself as a creative person into that book. So I'm not dragging people through, oh yeah, this is what it was like living in Mesopotamia and in the Levant and in Israel and Judah, or I don't know. It's just like, it was complicated times back then, and there's a lot that I witnessed that made me feel really turned off about human experiences. And then I went through crap all over again, Tovin, and I got into contact with the artist that did this image that I have behind there, and I thought that looks really cool. Like, I like that. It's artistic, it's creative, and so I believe it's a he told me to just write up a contract, and then I can send him the money, and I can use the images for the book. I still want to hear back from the person that did the font because I want to use it for commercial purposes. And I'm trying to do things the right way, but I'm not very good at it. Like, I don't have a secretary. It's like I don't have somebody helping me out with these things. I'm trying to do it on my own. So it's an F around and find out type of endeavor. And I got this stuff here that I'm trying to do because I told my friend who lives in New Jersey, and I told her and her that I can't ignore at all that I am. And I find that it's hard to make it work in terms of being an author because it's like there's so many different things I could write about. But I'm not always good at writing because I tend to get kind of basic in my own language and I repeat things unnecessarily, and I don't have enough color to my vocabulary. I was hoping this would be of help, but I have not yet, found it useful. Mostly just because there's so many words in there. But I will try to look at it and see if I could fix things up and make it a bit more polished. What I learned from my short time in college trying to be a communications major is that for effective communication to happen, you have to be able to use the right kind of words. Otherwise, there's too much room for interpretation. If you want something very, fluid in interpretation, you kind of just create imagery with your words, and then people interpret it how they see fit. But if you want something to be clear, then you have to use words that you don't have to use jargon, but you have to use words that are unambiguous in what they mean. So that's kind of hard because English is full of ambiguity at times. It's like, what do you mean? So, yeah, I want to write a book, and I struggle as an author. And I struggle to keep this video short because look, I'm at 28 minutes, and this is kind of what I'm trying to plan out. Like, I'm probably too complicated for my own good, and my glasses feel crooked, but I'm probably just complicated. Like, I feel too overly complicated for me to distill everything into like one easy to understand thing. Like, I just don't know how to do it. I'm baffled. Because I feel like I would be more successful at composing music than I would be writing a book. Like, if I could just learn how to write music again, I have to just start with the conventional and then get back towards into discovering what my style is and, redefine myself in moments here and there. And it's hard because I have moments of genius, and it's followed by moments of just feeling like my brain melted. But I don't know. I haven't figured out why. And I think that's just the duality of things that I'm trying to balance out. Like, my ascendant is Gemini. My sun sign is Sagittarius. And my moon is in Virgo. And I think because my moon's in Virgo, I find myself stuck in a hard place because I try to be a perfectionist, and yet I find that it just is self-defeating. like I can't cope with it. I can't cope with wanting to get wonderful things done. I hate how crooked my glasses are. I think they sit weird on my face. I hate it. My face might be crooked. That might be the only problem. See, like it bothers me. Like it bothers me when things don't fit right. It bothers me when things don't taste right. It bothers me when clothes don't fit right or don't feel comfortable. Like I used to have like all sorts of sensory issues. Tastes can even bother me at times. Like it's just a lot to try to get everything into a digestible format. And I like that's why these videos happen. But I don't like how long they are. But I do like that people get to see how much of a mess I am at times. It's like, okay, if you wrote music about the person you see on this screen, it kind of just goes back and forth and meanders in moments, and I'm just like, you know what? I need a break. That's it. I need a break. I need to just reset and then just get back to it. Having two different screens looking at me is part of what's disrupting my energy. I could play more piano, but I think I'm done with that for today. It's just tiring. But anyway, I could play more of this, and that might be a nice break from everything. Because it's like cute. I can play it as messy as I want, because it's my instrument. I could do whatever. It's like it's a nice instrument to have. It's like an easy to save a piano thing, and it's like. I like that sound. They kind of remind me of like a bike. Those bike horns. That's what it kind of sounds like, right? I wish I was good at piano. It would make things a little more fun, but I find that I'm starting to get a little bit on the impatient side of things. I wonder if it's like tapping into an essence of something. Then I'm gonna have to ask Heavenly Father about what it is. I know the one time I asked him about something, and he showed me the picture of Franz Josef Haydn, and who was my teacher, and then it's like, you know what? I could have learned to have been a more respectful person in that life, but I was very just insistent on not pleasing people and kind of just, I don't know, I was very back and forth about things. It just drove me up the wall. But anyway, bye. It's marginally shorter than what I originally planned. Is that a victory?